Welcome to Friday, December 23rd, 2022. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com or their Facebook page. Also brought to you by WYDOT. Remember, check the latest road conditions before heading on out. Remember, when there's ice and snow, blowing snow, take it slow. Well, the Arctic air is going to ease. Then we're going to see some wind. Then it's all about the Pacific. Over the last couple of weeks, it's really been all about the Arctic, obviously. But now the Pacific has got some tricks up its sleeve, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. This will impact a lot of the western United States in the next week or two. But the good news is this severe cold is going to move off the east slopes of the Rockies. But one rule of thumb with Arctic air is when Arctic air leaves, there's always a big change in air pressure between the dense, heavy Arctic air on the ground and the changing pressures that happen west of the Continental Divide as high pressure builds in, and you get these shifting pressure patterns because of a difference in air temperature, and you squeeze all that over the mountains, you get wind. So blowing snow along the higher elevation roads and highways is going to be a problem today and into tomorrow, so there still will be some travel concerns. But those winds will help push that Arctic air to the east, causing that big storm and blizzard that's ongoing now in the Midwest, Great Lakes. Incredible cold going deep into the southern areas of the United States. Some snow in Dallas, freezing temperatures to the Gulf Coast. Then, as we mentioned earlier, it's the Pacific that's going to be throwing a lot of curveballs our way. This is going to be a situation to where the Pacific will be throwing a lot of storms in the western United States. This means wet weather for California. Good news. It also means, good news, more snow in the high country. It's not necessarily a pattern that brings big storm to the plains, at least at the moment, but it's going to stay a busy weather pattern. Right on into the new year, this will keep severe cold away. So with the Pacific dominating, Pacific air masses, we don't have severe cold like what we're experiencing now, at least over the next week or two. But it's going to stay busy. A couple of satellite photos from yesterday to just highlight the extent of the cold. This was taken yesterday morning, and you see all the blue right here? These blue colors, at least in this area right here, these are clouds down here. This blue, the air is so cold on the ground, the satellite photo thinks these are cirrus clouds. Basically, the satellite is seeing the severe cold, and you can see this patch of green right here? You wonder why Casper was in that 40 degree below range around the Wind River Basin, Bighorn Basin up here, then up in the Montana. So the satellite can tell how cold it is on the ground. And there's this visible satellite photo taken late yesterday morning. So basically everything is a cloud here south of there, but all of this right here in this circle is snow on the ground. So yeah, it's going to be a white Christmas for many of you. You can see how extensive the snow cover is there behind that Arctic wave. And then if we were to focus in, you can see the Black Hills, the Bighorns here, the Wind Rivers, Yellowstone Park, the Snowy Range, the Sierra Madres, the Colorado Mountains, the Uinta Mountains of Utah here, sticking out over the higher plains. Very wintry. That just looks like a photo taken over the Arctic, doesn't it? More photos come in from folks all across the region of their weather stations and their weather reports. Now, I'm showing you this. You're looking at 28 degrees. Well, that's not very cold. It's not. Well, we talked about how west of the divide, parts of the western slope may escape the worst of the Arctic cold because the mountains just hold the Arctic air. And you can see there, shot out of western Colorado, well, it didn't get very cold. But, boy, look at that graph up in Grable, Bozeman, Montana, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Trent, thank you for sending this. What I wanted to show you here is the red line shows you the drop of temperature as the Arctic front went through. The air pressure shows the change in air pressure as the front went through. Arctic air is associated with very high pressure. Kind of seems like it should be low pressure, right? But Arctic air is heavy and it's dense, and it causes higher pressure. So the temperature plunged right here at the same time. The barometric pressure went up very sharply. So there's a lot of things that happen when these Arctic fronts move through. A big change in pressure is another one. So for you folks with the joints and sore knees and sore elbows, well, these Arctic fronts do a lot of things with changes in air pressure as well. The Arctic front did get into West Cliff, though, so some parts of western Colorado did get into the cold. And you're wondering about the animals? Well, here's a shot out of Sabile Canyon. between Laramie and Wheatland, Wyoming, of a bighorn sheep. So animals are tough, but I'm sure it had to be hard on everybody. Now, the satellite photo today showing you two of them. There's the storm into the Great Lakes now getting put together. You're going to see a huge comma cloud form right in this area right here later today as the storm gets organized, drawing in Arctic air behind it. Snow and blizzard conditions are going to be hitting many areas of the Midwest. Now, you don't see a map like this very often, but look at the United States, the lower 48 here. All of these purple and gray and red shadings have to do with some type of winter weather advisory. So I'm going to talk about the Pacific Northwest here in a moment, but there is a giant swath of the nation that is under some type of situation with winter conditions, and you wonder why travel's a mess today and will be into the weekend. Now, a satellite photo of the Pacific. We're going to talk about the Pacific here. See all of this? Well, the Pacific is going to start throwing some stuff our way, and it's going to be up here in the Pacific Northwest today with a strong onshore flow and a little disturbance. It doesn't look like much, right? But this is a very cold, moist flow hitting the Pacific Northwest right here while the storm blows up in the Great Lakes in the Midwest. There you can see it. Boy, there's going to be some giant lake effect snows in western Michigan, up in upper Michigan, as the Arctic air comes over the parts of the Great Lakes that haven't frozen over yet, although there's going to be a lot of freezing of the Great Lakes this weekend. You're going to see huge snows up into Buffalo. You're going to see huge snows along Lake Ontario, Lake Erie. It's going to be a mess. If you look at the wind gusts, look at those wind gusts over Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Lake Superior, they are going to have giant waves over Lake Superior and the Great Lakes through this period. Just a real nasty storm there. Now, the Pacific Northwest. Well, the Pacific Northwest has got some problems. Through tomorrow morning, a strong moist onshore flow is going to bring heavy precipitation. This precipitation along the coastal areas and inland to the Pacific Northwest is going to be ice. We could have a real potential problem with ice in Washington, Oregon, might even have ice getting into the Boise area here. So there's going to be some travel problems there. The Arctic area has come underneath and into some of the eastern areas and even into some of the coastal areas of the Pacific Northwest. That Arctic air kind of sneaking in some areas. And then the more warmer, moist Pacific air going on top of that, setting up a freezing rain environment. So there's some problems there. Now, this is for Sunday afternoon, Christmas afternoon. We do have a wave coming in from the northwest. There is going to be a little frontal boundary here. And behind and along this little frontal boundary, there is going to be a little bit of Christmas snow. Not a lot. It's going to be something to watch out for, and we'll show you that here in a minute. The temperature anomaly, this is by Sunday, 5 p.m. Notice there's a punch of that Pacific air pushing against the Arctic air saying, get out of here. But look how much it's going to bunch up and still stay over the central and eastern areas of the United States. This is that little wave that's going to be right here heading southeast Christmas afternoon and evening. There is going to be some of that Pacific moisture getting pushed into the mountains for a little bit of mountain snow this weekend. There, as the Arctic air is overrun by that Pacific air, there's going to be a band of moderate snow through Canada, through central and northeastern areas of North Dakota and parts of Montana. So it's not going to be a lot of Christmas afternoon or evening snow, but a little bit. In the high country, we'll get a little bit of snow shower activity. Now, here comes the Pacific. It opens up. This is by Tuesday, 5 p.m. We've got a pretty good little frontal system coming in here, another one here, another one here. And what's all going to happen is a strong, moist jet stream pattern is going to come into the Pacific and just kind of stay there for a bit. Just very energetic, strong jet stream winds pushing into the west coast. Sometimes we call this, you'll hear this called the atmospheric river. So by next Tuesday, look at this connection of deeper air. I'm showing you the precipitable water anomalies going across the Pacific here. We show you this during the thunderstorm season to show you where there's moisture available. So look at this connection all across from the tropical Pacific to California to the Pacific Northwest. So we've got a little bit of an atmospheric river forming next week into New Year's weekend. So what this means is the Pacific dominates now, throwing moisture. There it is. You can see the deeper moisture getting pushed on in. Now, not everywhere where you see green or purple or blue where there'll be snow, but look at the west coast. look at the lineup of these upper level waves by next Friday. They're just going to come in one after another. None of these are big, but each one of these will bring a slug of rain to the west coast, then snow up into the high country. We do have a bit of a Chinook zone here east of the divide. So we'll keep an eye on things for maybe something getting east of the divide, but nothing really big at the moment. We'll keep an eye on it. But look at Arizona. Look at New Mexico. This is going to be awesome for California to get more needed rain and more snow in the Sierra Nevada, heavy snows in the Cascades and the Pacific Northwest Mountains. But the interior west, the interior mountain ranges, all are going to, the Mongolian Rim in Arizona, mountains of Colorado, the mountains of Wyoming, the mountains of New Mexico. This will be another big snowpack, big picker-upper. So if you've got skiing plans anywhere in the Intermountain West through this holiday period, you're going to have off and on snow chances well past New Year's. There it is. You can see this is the 10-day snowfall forecast. Pretty impressive. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Have a safe one. We'll see you on Monday.